Hello everyone! Christmas is here together with a seasonally appropriate home screen, and this update really feels like a gift with all of the quality of life we have been receiving, on top of just two absolutely fantastic banner units. I'm going to go through all of these things for you, and yeah, it's going to be a good time. Now, a lot of people didn't think we would get the Christmas event, myself included, kind of. I've been thinking for the past couple weeks, like, are they actually going to skip Christmas? Like, I don't know. Because it's really intertwined with the Ryza's challenge event that we've been having going on. So it was really hard to think, like, can they actually skip this? It doesn't really feel like it. So it just makes the fact that we didn't get Halloween even more weird, right? Like, if they were going to do Christmas anyways, why did they skip Halloween in the first place? We don't really know. They haven't told us. We don't really know why. Maybe they weren't planning on doing Christmas from the start, but they came to the same conclusion. It would be hard to skip for the balance of the game, for the balance of the events, just all the timings and everything. And maybe they realized, oh, people actually want these out of order, right? Or in order, out of season. So who knows? Maybe they weren't originally planning to do it. Maybe they always were. We can't know, but we did get it. That's great. I think missing Christmas would be quite bad because of how strong Patricia is. The conspiracy theory sort of for why Halloween skipped actually isn't the fact that it was Halloween, but that the vampire staff from Halloween is too strong and broke the balance of the game. That's the sort of conspiracy theory as to why they skipped it. They didn't want to nerf it, so they just skipped the event entirely, and they had a good excuse for it because it was Halloween, right? But who knows? Anyways, on to the actual content. So first and foremost, we have the bonus pass now. This is a monthly paid pass, 240 paid gems. So if you, I believe that's $5 per 30 days. And it's half that if you haven't bought all of the double price gems, right? So if you don't really spend money on this game like me, and you have all of these packs left, right? Then you can get like a couple months for $4, right? So not bad. Yeah, 1 month would be $3. So yeah, or $2, sorry. So yeah, not too bad. I do have a few paid gems left from when I bought the Start Dash packs at the start of the game. So we're just gonna go ahead and get that. Now this has a lot of really amazing benefits. First of all, we have +1 free stamina recovery, which is the gem recovery. You get a free one, an extra free one of those every day. Then you get some extra coal just from every single like quest that you run. You get 10% extra coal, so that's nice, just a flat 10% boost to your coal income. Then extra 10% XP. This is fairly negligible overall because most of your XP does come from candy, but it's still a nice bonus. Then we have training quests for +1 to each of those for your daily bonus, so the 200% every day. So you can do 4 of those instead of 3 of those now. This applies to everything except for the peace quest. It does not apply to the peace quest, so don't buy this thinking that you can get extra pieces out of it as well. It doesn't work. But orbs, XP, coal, all of those, it applies to that. Then pie stamina, our pies will give an extra 50 stamina instead of, so they will give 150 instead of 100 each every day. And then we also get 5 mana in the mail every day, and this is kind of one of the biggest perks of the pass. So the two big things, the free stamina recovery and the pie stamina, this is 180 stamina every day extra. So the value of the pass just in pure stamina is 5,400 stamina every month. So for 30 days, for 240 gems, you get 5,400 extra stamina. That is already really, really good value. However, you also get the 5 mana every day for a total of 150 mana, and mana are 10 gems each, right? So just alone, the value in mana is already 1,500 gems if you gem for mana. And this mana goes to the mail, which is really nice. It means you can just hold it there instead of it, you know, affecting your cap, your regen. So if you don't want to use it at the moment, you can just keep it there for a rainy day or whenever you want to like actually play the game or need to make items for content or whatever, or you get a new character. Like, you can just hold it there until you actually need it and it doesn't interfere with your natural regen or your cap or anything like that. So I am just going to go ahead and get this. This is a really good value. I highly recommend it. It does not come with gems, unfortunately. We do not have a monthly pass for gems, but still pretty nice. If you have extra gems and you just want to stock up on days, you can just press this multiple times and it'll just add 30 days to the timer every single time. So you can just renew it whenever. If you're at 15 days left, you renew it, it goes to 45 days. You always get 30 days from it. So very cool. Along with the shop, we don't really have anything new in the shop this update other than the shiny coin shop. This is, I don't know. It's a way to spend your excess shiny coins. I don't have very many right now because I haven't converted all my items recently, but it's kind of underwhelming. So these slots are always the same kind of. Like this will always be candy or memoria experience. This will always be candy or memoria experience. This will always be some random type of orb. This will always be pieces for one of your characters. 3-star pieces are more expensive. I would say these aren't really worth it unless you do a lot of synthesis and have a lot of coins, because it's not very many pieces, right? If you buy all of the pieces from the shop every single time, you will run out of shiny coins within days, right? And then there's mana. There's always mana here. This can spawn in batches of 10, rarely, so you can get 10 mana at once. And then there is coal. This can spawn like 500,000 at a time, which can be kind of nice. But basically, the main things you want to look out for in the shop are the mana and coal. You can definitely just buy the mana every single time. And if you are using gems for mana, it may be better for you with an excess of shiny coins to come here and buy the mana instead, because there is a refresh for the shop. Your daily refresh is, your first refresh every day is free, so refresh, get the mana, right? And then every refresh after that is 10 gems. They don't go up in price, it's just 10 gems for each one. And basically, yeah, it's the same cost as gemming for mana in the first place, but you also get the chance at even more with the jackpot of 10 mana and the extra coins and stuff, so it can be a good value. It does take shiny coins, but we already have an excess of shiny coins anyways if you're synthing a lot, so it's not really that much of a cost because there's not really another use for them. So yeah, pretty cool shop overall, but as I said, most of the things not worth buying, like random XP isn't really very worth it. Random orbs isn't really very worth it. Pieces, if you really want the pieces that show up, like sure, go ahead, but if you buy all the pieces, you will quickly run out of coins. But if you have a lot and you want to speed up that piece acquisition, this is one vector of doing that. But yeah, then we also have the ticket bundles, the wish tickets for the current banner. As always, these tickets are 1,500 coins, so half price multis. They give no legend medals, and they are only for the current Christmas banner. If you buy these and don't use them on the Christmas banner while it is up, they will disappear. I do recommend getting these. Both of the characters are very, very good. Alright, there are a couple more things to go over, and I will just show some of the monthly pass benefits as well. So the free stamina refresh that we got, 2 free per day, so you know, plus 260 stamina, 2 free gem refreshes. We also now have overflow stamina, and overflow stamina is basically when your stamina is full, you will get overflow stamina at a rate of, was it like 1 per 15 minutes or something? I don't remember. I think it was that, like 4 per hour instead of the 12 per hour, so 3 times slower. And this is basically just like if you stop playing the game for a long time, you know, it'll let you have a bunch of stamina when you come back. It caps out at 3,000. So after a month, this will be full. After a month of not playing the game, this will be full, right? And it's basically just an extra stamina bar on top of your full stamina bar. I can probably grab a pie and show that off as well. I do have the two pies that give extra stamina from the monthly pass, so 150 stamina. And in a few minutes, hopefully it will give some yeah, you can see it right here. So in, you know, 31 days, this overflow stamina bar will fill up. So 3,000 stamina there. So yeah, if your stamina is full, you still keep getting stamina now, just at a slower rate, right? So pretty nice of them to do that. You still want to, of course, use your stamina if you're actively playing, but it's still a nice little bonus. On top of that, we also have a couple really nice synthesis features. Give me one sec. So first of all, we have the recipe favoriting system. And this is one of my favorite features. I use it all the time in JP. Basically, there's this little star here. So you take whatever recipe that you're like actively working on at the moment, right? And you press the star on it and it gets this little favorite icon. And if you press this button here, it will show only your favorites. So I basically always have this filter enabled. If I'm actively working on a recipe, it's just very easy to find without scrolling. I can quickly get to it and just start synthing it right away. So I basically, always have this filter enabled. It makes sorting through your recipes much easier. When we have so many of them in the first place, it just, it's really, really nice. On top of that, we also have a popular setup feature. This one's pretty cool. Basically, it shows you what the popular combinations are for a given item. Now, these combinations are not necessarily going to be optimal all the time because maybe people don't know what they're doing, but it does sort of give you an idea of what other people are doing, and it will show you basically an all-time ranking, a weekly ranking, and a monthly ranking. There's not enough data yet for the monthly on this item, but because it's new. But yeah, that's pretty neat. So if we go to an item like, let's say, an actual weapon that's been out for a little while, and look at the setup, you're going to see people are making this with skill power because it's an attacker weapon. That's kind of what you expect. Now, this one is using, 2-star free characters, so it's more common. This would be the better one if you did actually have Meru, right? But still. Or like an item for Liddy, such as the Steel Staff, which I have said before, you want to use Liddy on this. And you can see that all of them are Liddy into Aisha into the Eternal Crystal. Like, this is going to be your common synth setup. So usually people know what they're doing. So it's very useful. It also just helps as like you don't have to sort through your characters. It makes it faster to, select a recipe instead of having to scroll through everything if you know what you're looking for and it's probably in the popular recipes. So very cool feature there. And yeah, I think that's most of the important stuff from this update. So let's get right on to the banner units, which these are some of my favorite units they've ever added into the game. I love their designs. I love their kits, especially Patty's. Patty is amazing. First off, we have the Memoria with its super cute art. We have Christmas Ryza riding Panna. Panna's from Atelier Aisha, very cute cow. This is just a standard magic attacker statted Memoria with ice damage boost, so not really anything to write home about or really worth pulling for, but it does have very nice art. And then getting into Resna. Resna is an ice attacker, and I have said before that she loses a bit of value by being a Resna, right? Like, from a free player perspective, pulling for her loses a bit of value because if you already have Bolt Resna, you can't use them both on the same team. That will change in the future, and she is a very good unit in her own right anyways. And just with like a few other things that happen in the future, her value has risen, honestly. One of the big reasons for that is she does have a skill power gift with purple red. Right now, this isn't useful, right? Purple red does not link to anyone at the moment. However, in the future, we will get characters like Rose Valeria and Air Totery and other characters like that that do link to her and also have very good skill power gifts and are also very good characters that are honestly like you could spark them and not feel bad about it, right? So even though the skill power gift is not useful now. It will be in the future, and the main meta synth recipe in the future is very resna focused, right? Very Christmas resna focused. You will be using her in synth a lot if you have her and some of the other characters. So she is very, very, very strong just for that. On top of that, she has a very good passive for an attacker, where she boosts all allies' critical damage by 20%. This affects herself as well, so very strong there. And then just a generic status effect resistance here, which is still mediocre because it's only 20%, but it is something. But yeah, basically, she is a critical focused ice attacker, as you can tell from this critical passive. Her skill 1 is going to be, it's a critical damage boost for all allies. It stacks up to 30%. It's permanent for the rest of the battle. This isn't very strong because it is only 5%. It's a fairly slow ramp, but it's still a nice bonus when you do have to use her skill 1 to manipulate the timeline. Then we have her skill 2, and this comes with a new ailment called brittle, or kachikochi in Japanese. Before attacking, very high chance to inflict brittle on the target for 2 attacks. And what brittle does is when the target is attacked, the attack is guaranteed to crit. So it's a guaranteed critical strike. So solid damage rate on this with guaranteed critical if the ailment lands. Now, in some places, such as Ice Tower, you know, this ailment's probably going to land most of the time, but in a lot of harder content, enemies will generally be resistant to this. So it's not very reliable. Thankfully, her kit is still good enough without inflicting brittle on targets, but it is still a very important part of her kit. It does make her quite a bit stronger when she can land this ailment. So her strength does depend a little bit based on the, you know, resistance of the enemies to this new ailment, right? And then we have her burst. Her burst is area, very standard area damage rate on the burst, and it is guaranteed crits. Now, guaranteed crits are a bit weird in this game. They have much more value on area attacks than they do on single target attacks, in my opinion. And that's because the crits roll per enemy for area attacks, right? So if you have 4 enemies and a 50% crit rate, the chance that you're going to crit on all of them is quite low, right? It's like 1 in 16 or something. But whereas for a single target attack, it's 1 in 2, and it's very easy to reroll for that. So for area attacks, like this burst here, 100% critical rate is very strong. So even though her true damage potential on this burst is lower than a character like Logi, because of the 100% critical rate, it is much easier to realize that damage potential, right? And then after attacking, she also inflicts the brittle ailment on the target, so it's just a nice support for your other attackers as well. But, God, sorry. I just woke up and I'm talking a lot. I need water. Okay. But yeah, brittle ailment, nice support for your other attackers, but it's not super important because the burst itself already has 100% critical rate. So, you know. But yeah, very strong burst here. Resna is a very good unit. She absolutely destroys Ice Tower. So if you're wanting to do Ice Tower, she's very good for that. God, this is where not wanting to edit videos is going to come and bite me, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay. But yeah, very, very, very strong unit here. I really like her. She's really, really good. She's not quite into the spark tier, but between her skill power gift, between her really, really, really good burst and her critical damage passive, she is just absolutely fantastic to have on any team, especially if you don't have Bolt Resna for yourself. And then, who could forget Patricia? So Patty is a new character with this update. She is from Atelier Ryza 2. If you don't know her, she has not appeared in the main story so far, so this is her first appearance in the game. She has a huge crush on Tao for some reason. No one knows why. But anyways, she is a slash defender, and she is the strongest defender that we have So like today, like as a pure defender, she is the strongest. Even on JP, she is still the strongest pure defender. Her kit is really, really good for reducing damage taken, for sustaining damage. She is just an absolute monster of a tank, and I'll go over why that is. First off, her passive, it comes with this standard taunt, targeted by enemies much more easily, and then also on successful counter, reduces own damage received by 5%, stacking up to 20%. And I'll go over what this counter thing means, but basically this stacks up very, very fast. After basically 2 rounds, you will have this fully stacked. She will be taking 20% reduced damage. Very hefty amount of damage reduction. So her skill 1 is after attacking, reduces damage received by 15% for 1 turn, and restores HP by 15%. So very strong skill 1. It comes with a damage reduction steroid, and it also heals her. You will not be using the skill very often, and the reason for that is because of her skill 2. And her skill 2 is very interesting. It's one of the more interesting skills we have in the game. After attacking, it gives her a damage reduction debuff until she receives 2 attacks, so 20% for 2 attacks, and it also gives her a buff for countering with Snow Sword for 2 counterattacks. And Snow Sword is her skill 1. So basically how this works is she attacks with her with skill 2, and she gains this counter buff. So the next 2 times that she is attacked, she will counter back with Snow Sword. And that gets all the benefits of using her skill 1 without having to use it. So she will hit the enemy with Snow Sword, which means she will get a buff that reduces her damage received. And then she will also heal by 15% HP. She will do damage to them. She will do break damage to them. She will charge your item gauge by 10% when using this counter. It is incredibly powerful. So on top of all that, she gets all of the stacking damage reduction. Like if she's fully stacked up, right, she has 20% here, 20% here, 15% here, you know, and this is all additive. So that all adds up to like 55% damage reduction. Then you also have damage reduction from traits like area damage reduction and resolve damage reduction and all these things like that. And she's basically not taking any damage at all. She's healing all of it back with multiple counters. She's a very, 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 very good unit. Absolutely love Patty. She's really, really good at tanking. She's really fun to play with. She's one of my favorite units in the entire game. And while she's not quite worth sparking over characters like Liddy, maybe even Azana, she is going to be the strongest defender we have for a while. No one outclasses her on JP just yet. Even the newly released Mimi is kind of bad. So yeah, very, very strong unit. And then of course her burst. Before attacking, removes negative effects. After attacking, restores HP by 50%. This thing sucks. Like, in all honesty, this burst is really bad. I usually, if a burst lands on Patty, I will very often just use skill 2 over the burst because the counters are so strong. There are some situations where you might use this because you really, really need the heal. You need the extra stun or the extra damage or something. But a very significant amount of the time a burst lands on Patty, I would usually use this skill instead. So the burst is kind of weak. I do think it should give counter stacks, then it would be pretty cool, but yeah. If you get her, congratulations. She's really fun to play with, really strong. And then also her synthesis gift is also good. It is resolve defense. All resistance is up resolve. So this reduces damage taken by 10% when HP is 50% or lower. This is the first time we have this trait on a character. So you can now get 2 copies of this on a single item. This is one of the better traits for Patty, along with any sort of like defender or resolve recovery or area defense, right? So this is definitely, using her in her own synthesis recipes is definitely good. You will very often want to combine her with someone who gives recovery and then a material with like resolve defense on it, maybe, right? So yeah. Very, very strong character. And then I'm just going to go over the recipes real quick, and then we'll get on to the polls that everyone's been waiting for. So first up, we have recipes. Gifts on a Starry Night. There are 6 recipes here, 3 for Resna and 3 for Patty. I'll go through Resna's first. The first one is a weapon. While equipped to a character with Ice Affinity, boosts critical damage by 20%. Now this weapon is very, very, very good. However, If you have Resna, you can absolutely do floor 2 of Ice Tower and get the Tome of Answers Ice, which is just a better version of that with more magic attack and more crit damage boost. So I would recommend making this over the event weapon, especially because the event weapon shares mats with the other event weapon, and I'll go over this one in a bit. This one's very good. Then we also have the Passionate Envoy's Coat. This is just 5% skill damage and 8% burst damage for ice. It's decent. It's a very good item to make with your event mats because it's quite cheap. So definitely not a bad recipe to consider making for Resna. I do think there are better items though, such as the armor from chapter 6 that gives magic attack, but it's still very solid armor. If you got a good one of these for Resna, you wouldn't be unhappy. Then the accessory. This thing is weird. While equipped to an ice character, after making a critical attack, gives 5% damage reduction for 2 attacks. This is kind of bad. I wouldn't really use this. It's okay, but I wouldn't really use this. I would rather just use damage. On the accessory slot, we do actually have damage options with the fancy ring and some other things, so I wouldn't really use this. It's a little weird. It's a little too conditional. Ice requiring a crit, stuff like that, so. And it's a very low amount of damage reduction, so not very good. And we have the Patty recipes. First up, Serene Envoy's Blade. This is the best defender weapon that we have in the game right now. While equipped to a defender, reduces damage received from single target attacks by 7%. Notice it's for any defender, not just slash defenders like Patty. It is for any defender. And 7% is a large amount of damage reduction for the weapon slot. It is only single target attacks, but those are going to be the more dangerous attacks to your defenders. Those are going to be the ones you want to reduce the most. So that 7%, especially stacking with all of the other damage reduction that Patty has in her kit, is very, very, very valuable, right? Yeah, highly recommend this item. This is best in slot for Patty, in my opinion. Very, very good. And then we have the Serene Envoy's Coat. While equipped to a defender at the start of battle, restores own HP at the start of the turn by 5% for 5 turns. So 5% HP recovery per turn for 5 turns. It's okay. Honestly, this is better on defenders that aren't Patty, and it's still kind of weak, but it's all right. 25% HP recovery over 5 turns is okay. However, for Patty herself, there's a couple other options, one being the Kook and Sweats we have in the Ryza challenge. While equipped to a character with Slash affinity, Patty is Slash, after using a skill, restores own HP by 5%. This is very, very strong on Patty because her counters count as using a skill, right? So she will be triggering this constantly, all the time. Just all the time. Very, very, very strong for improving Patty's recovery. It turns her counters from 15% recovery to 20% recovery. Very, very good item. On top of that, we also have the Sensible Robe from Tower, where it's kind of the same deal, except instead of heal, it's more damage reduction, right? So after countering, 8% damage reduction, or, using any skill, right? So this item is also very good. They are both very, very good options for Patty, and I wouldn't really recommend making the event armor for her when those options exist. And on top of that, we have the accessory. After attacking, reduces target's damage by 4% for 1 turn. So this will reduce the damage that the target deals on their next attack. 4% is pretty mediocre, and I don't believe this is additive with your own defensive stats, so it's kind of weak. It still does get spread around quite well by her counters, and it's also usable on other characters such as Slash Ryza, although I don't know why you would do that over more stun damage, but it is a thing, I guess. This item, there are situations where it can be okay if you really need the damage reduction, but I don't really like it and I wouldn't recommend making it. As far as Patty accessories go, I would just go for things that reduces the damage she takes, like the Hot-Blooded Bandana or the Chronicle Mark Slash, things like that. So yeah, that is all of the recipes. Let's get on to what everyone has been waiting for, the wishes. Super excited for these. We have a few daily ones because right now we have 3 whole banners up, so 3 daily wishes every day. And I'll go through those first, just real quick, and then we'll get to the tickets. Shalostera. I actually, the other day on a daily wish on the Ryza banner, I did get a raid up unit, but it was the second Ompol, so that was kind of unfortunate. Was really hoping it would be Ryza. Of course, these daily wishes will be worse, but that's fine. As long as we don't get Tau, right? Oh my god. Holy crap! Wait, actually? No way. Wait, that's so good. Heck. Oh my god. Alright, super happy about that. So cute. Yay. Okay, that's super good. Now let's just hope we have that kind of luck on the Christmas banner too. That definitely helps me out with sparking Liddy later. That'll be nice. I haven't managed to pick up Ryza or Liddy. I will be sparking Liddy once I get the medals. And of course, first pull on the Christmas banner. And it's just a Linka, but that's fine. Now we have the actual pulls, the tickets, although can I really say that when I just got Izana? I don't know. Alright. Now give me those winks. Oh, just one. Okay. I'm seeing a whole lot of nothing. Definitely nothing. Still nothing. No fake out either. When this banner came on my JP account, on the first ticket pull, I actually pulled both Resna and Patty in the same multi. That was pretty exciting. We did not get that lucky here, unfortunately, but you can't really expect that kind of once-in-a-lifetime luck again, right? But it would be very cool to get one of them. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't think it's happening, though. We have Oscar. Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything, does it? Unfortunate. It's fine. We can't be sad about the pulls today. Objectively, they went very, very well, so... Yep. And no one. That's fine. Izana's good enough. Don't be sad. Totally fine. Anyways, that's all for this video. I wish you all luck with your Christmas pulls. They're so cute. I love them. And they're really strong too. They're both really good. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the new year on the next banner, because that should be the next banner we're getting. New Year in April. Very cool. Alright, bye-bye. Have a good one.